Welcome back to Inside Baker. I'm now joined by Dr. Judy Smrha, who will be talking about Gen Ed Wednesdays. Thank you, Ms. Smrha, for coming on. I guess first off, I just want to know kind of what role you have here at Baker, and then also what role you have in the Gen Ed Wednesdays.
Okay. Well, I'm a faculty member in the Business and Economics Department here at Baker, but I also have the role of Assistant Dean for Institutional Effectiveness. I live in the Records and Registration Office, so I'm downstairs in Constant Hall. And my role in the general education revision process this year is as co-chair for the committee of faculty and 2 students who are talking about how to organize a process that will get us a new general education program about which we can all be very proud. And so Mark Carter, who's a psychology professor, has been the other co-chair, and so Dr. Carter and I have been working this year with this group of faculty and students. There's a total of 12 of us, and one of the ideas that we had, and this is connected to suggestions that were made some time ago, was that we start to organize conversations on campus, and that's where Gen Ed Wednesdays came from.
Okay, and so we have this we're trying to revise the Gen Ed program.
Right.
And so what type of Gen Ed Wednesdays, what has been discussed?
Well, we've done 6 this semester. The topics have ranged from discussion connected to global learning and service learning, experiential opportunities, learning communities, whether or not we want to have a core curriculum. The students here at Baker experience a core type curriculum when they have classes in the LA program. And core implies that everyone has the same class experience. So you ask everyone to do basically a course that all looks the same. So we do LA 101, 102, and 401 for the students who come in as freshmen, and that is what one would call a core. The alternative is something we also use. So we use a little bit of both, and that is what's called a distribution system, a distribution structure. And that's when you have the list, and you pick one, right? So for non-Western perspectives right now, you just pick one.
Right.
So one question is whether or not we want something in the future that is more core, less core. So there's some debate. Each of these topics, the 6 weeks that we've done this, what we've tried to do is identify a topic around which people want to have some conversation, something that people care about, but there is potentially some controversy. People have strong opinions one way or the other, or they would like to just explore the possibility. So for example, the very first one we did was the exploration of changing the way we structure the class during the course of the semester. And one option is to go to something that's called a block schedule. Now, we actually do something that looks like a block schedule, and that's called interterm. Interterm, you take one class, you do the whole thing in one shot during approximately a 3-week period. There are some schools that run the whole year, one block after another. And so the question is whether or not we would like to look something like that, try it out, maybe only do pieces of it. So it was a conversation held around that topic. So all of the Gen Ed Wednesdays, the whole purpose is to get people to start talking to each other and really exploring the good and the bad that could come with any of these potential changes.
Okay. How has student participation been at these events?
Actually, quite good. One of the surprises that we've had is when we originally envisioned it, I'm not sure that students are aware of this, but the faculty culture around here is to meet at 3:30. It's like the sacred time. And I'm not sure that it's the best time, but sort of as things turn out, we always end up by meeting at 3:30 on some day. And so the idea was, okay, well, let's meet at 3:30. And then somebody said, well, how about mornings? Could we feed them breakfast? Because everybody knows, right, you buy somebody food, they'll show up, if they were sort of on the fence about whether or not they wanted to show up. So food works. So we thought, well, why don't we invite them to come in the morning? And a bunch of folks were like, nobody would show up in the morning. But that actually has been the much more, the more participation has occurred in the morning. So we've done nearly each of the weeks, not every week, but nearly each of the weeks we have invited people to come for breakfast. We buy them breakfast at the Union. And then also if they can't do the breakfast or they want to come twice, they can come in the afternoon. Also held in the Union. So the student participation has actually been quite good because, well, we've bought them breakfast and they come and they're interested. I'm not sure that there's a lot of student participation at 3:30 because while it works well for faculty schedules, typically students have all of their other obligations kick in the afternoon, and so 3:30 in the afternoon is not so good for them. But in the mornings, we've had students every week, so that's been really good.
I guess lastly, what from these meetings that you have, what have we decided, or what is going to be decided for next year's schedule?
Well, next year is when things really start to get interesting, and that's when we will kick into the design process. Because right now we're just sort of the preliminary, what do you think about this, what do you think about that? A lot of folks who haven't done Gen Ed revision in any recent period aren't necessarily thinking of it as the top of their concerns, and so part of this is educational in terms of getting people to think about what the options are. Next fall, we'll continue with a similar format. I'm not sure exactly that it's going to be, 7:30 breakfast like it is, or 7:45 breakfast like it is now, but there'll be something happening next fall that'll have a very similar nature, and that's when we're going to move the community. And the important thing is that we want faculty and students and staff to all have this conversation together. And that's why the invitations to these Gen Ed Wednesdays have gone out to everybody on campus, regardless of their position here. Because all of us play a role in creating the student learning environment, so everybody should be a part of the conversation about what we're going to do.
And if somebody is not able to actually make these meetings, can they just contact you?
Oh, absolutely. That's the other part of it, is that the committee folks, we have the Blackboard site. Students are certainly welcome to join the Blackboard site, so if it doesn't currently sit on your list of courses, you send me an email, I'll sign you up. It'll be just like any other Blackboard site. And on that Blackboard site is all kinds of stuff, meeting minutes, agendas, boring stuff like that, as well as resources and lists and updates and schedules for these things that we're doing. So if you can't participate on an individual day when a topic that you care about is being discussed, clearly there is some desire to have your input included, and so you should feel free to contact any of the folks that are identified as being a part of the committee next fall.
Well, thank you very much for coming
Sure.
on. We really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
We're going to take a short break, but stay with us.